Hey, how's it going, guys? Daniel here, aka HashLips, and welcome to the second part in creating the Dap to get all your NFTs on Opensea. In the first video, I've showed you everything you can do to kind of have your whole collection stored on a space somewhere in the cloud, getting the base URL, and then setting up the smart contract that will actually mint your NFTs. In this part, we're going to set up the Dap. What you can do is head over to the front-end base Dap that we've created before. So you can go and copy it, go to your favorite IDE, and go and type in git clone and paste it like that. If you haven't seen these videos before where we deal with the front-end Dap, I highly encourage you to do so because I'm not going to go over anything in this Dap. It's already set up and we've already discussed this in the Canvas API Dap that I created, where you can upload your signatures or a drawing to the blockchain. That's where I go through this. So we are going to literally just run this as is and then assume that you already have watched that video so that we can just do the hookup, build the Dap, and then do the build so we can maybe publish it. We have already published our smart contract on the blockchain and we already have a collection with 20 NFTs or 21 NFTs minted. We now want to do the rest and we actually want to see if we can increment these 20 NFTs to 21 or 20, 22, 25, whatever it might be. But we want to see transactions coming in and doing that through our app. And that's what we're going to be doing. So let's go back to the code. The next thing that we want to do is actually install everything. So run yarn. Well, first of all, cd into your repository, the base one, or reopen it, and then go yarn add all. This will install all the dependencies such as Truffle, and also you'll need Ganache CLI installed, which we'll also have to run just now, just to get our local blockchain up, and so that we can also deploy our smart contract on this platform as well. So let's wait for this to all run and install, and let me pause this video while this is doing its thing. Cool, now that everything is running, we can actually go and see if what we need to replace to make this work. The first thing that you'll need to do is start up a terminal and run Ganache-CLI. This will start up a local blockchain just so that we can actually test our smart contract as well, just by running it and migrating it to get the actual ABI on our machine. Next, what we can then do is go back to our browser, go to the remix part where we actually have written the smart contract. Once we're in there, then you can go and copy the whole smart contract as it is. Remember to include these import statements, then go back to the code, go to your contracts, and we've got the normal migrations, and then we also have the smart contract.sol. The smart contract.sol is just a generic smart contract that I've placed in here, but what you want to do is you actually want to replace it all with our smart contract. It might moan about the OpenZeppelin imports, but don't worry about that, because this actually is just a kind of, how can I say, an IDE bug, because once we move away from this or close these files, it's gone. And as soon as we open them again, they come back until you close the IDE and open it again. But it would find these modules because OpenZeppelin does exist in our node modules. So there it is. Perfect. Let's go and do that. The next thing that we want to do is actually interact with our blockchain that's running here on the terminal. So what we can do is just hit save. So save this file. And next we can say Truffle migrate dash dash reset. And once we've done that, we should kind of reset over the base contract that we have here. And in our source file, in our contracts, we should get the new smart contracts, ABIs, and so on. That looks perfect. The next thing that we want to do is just make sure that everything ran perfectly and it looked like it deployed the smart contract without any bugs, which is always a good sign. So that is now running on our local blockchain. And the next thing we can do is say yarn start. This will start a development server for us, and then we will see how the base dApp looks and what do we need to fix and change in order for us to create our dApp. So our dApp is started when we ran yarn start, and then it looks like this. It opens up the browser with the localhost link, and if we click connect, let's see, it says change to polygon. All right. So remember what we did the last time. You have to set up your test network in order for this to run. So when you go to the test network, remember to set up your custom RPC to point to the local development server that's running here. So you'll be able to see that it's listening on these ports, which we've set up before. So just go and check the previous video, like I said. But we still need to import at least one account. So I am going to go to my MetaMask on the test network, and I'm going to go and say import account, paste the private key over there, and then hit connect, and we're inside our smart contract. And that's it. We are ready to start the actual coding of our contract. So let's just go back to our dApp for now, and let's go and build out some UI interface in order for us to really make this look like a Minter app. What you can do is go into source, go into the app.js, and let's go and look at what we have so far. Currently, we just have this screen with a name inside of it, and this name it gets actually from the blockchain data. We're going to go ahead and update that now, and then we're also going to add some functionality to click on a button to buy. Let's go and do that. Seeing that this is not a front-end tutorial, even though I am a front-end developer and I can probably make this thing look a bit better than just a black screen with this white text, we're going to keep it simple, and you can run with your imagination and go ahead and go wild. For now, I'm just going to basically duplicate this button and maybe put it below this title. What we also want to do is just change the button's text, what it says, and we're going to say maybe claim, or what can we call this? Get NFT. Let's say claim. All right, so claim NFT. Next, because we're saying claim NFT over there, we can probably center this content over there right in the middle of the screen as well. Maybe this will just look a bit better. So let's go ahead and do that. Just a side note here, before I do that, you notice that I'm using these s.text styles and spaces. This is just my way of coding, and I've set up this in a global styles file using styled components. So this can just be normal divs and CSS styling as well. So just I wanted to point that out as well. Okay. Here I'm going to say, hey, grab. This is so original. All right. Okay, cool. Grab one of the NFTs. Okay, that's pretty cool. We can at least make NFTs all caps. Okay, that's fine. Grab one of the NFTs. That's cool. And let me go and space this out. Usually a rule of thumb, and this is just an FYI. When I do styling, I like putting background colors on everything. And the reason for that is because then I get to see exactly what I'm working with. So I can see that this does cover the whole space. So I can go back to my thingamajig over here, my component, and I can actually add the rest of the styling that I want for this to happen. So for instance, now I know everything will be in the center over here. Hey, grab one of the NFTs and then claim NFT. That seems fine to me. So let's leave it at that. Let's get rid of the pink background color for now. And let's go and do something else. So what I want us to do is I want to check out this styled button. So that's fine. Let's go up here and let's go and add a bit of logic. We have to add a use state effect in here. And how we're going to do that is say const loading. And the reason why we want to add this is we want to tell the user that something is claiming or loading, so they can't do anything else, right? So maybe we can call this set or claiming, right? Claiming NFT. That's fine. Set claiming NFT, like so. That's perfect. We're going to use the use state, and we're going to set this initial value to false. Perfect. That's going to be switching upon based upon what we do, or what we when we claim, it's going to switch out. And then maybe we should just give the user some feedback. So what I also want to then do is just duplicate this, maybe put it at the top, and let's say feedback. And then here we can say set feedback, like so. And this feedback will just be maybe it's your lucky day. Okay. Perfect. All right, so now let's go ahead and then do the rest of the coding. The next thing that we need to do is actually set up the function that will mint these NFTs. Now, the function we've done before in the gaming tutorial, but I'm going to go over this again a bit more in detail. This part is crucial for this tutorial because this is the heart and soul of how we're going to mint these NFTs. Okay. So in our contract, right, if we look at our contract just for a brief second over there, we know that our cost for an NFT is 0.02 Ethereum. Now we need to illustrate that because when dealing with smart contracts and sending transactions, you're dealing with the Way value, not Ethereum. And Way is like the value with like 18 decimals, but we want to keep it to Ether. And I'll show you how to do that just in a second. The second thing that we need to look at is when we are minting, where's our minting function? Here it is. So when we are minting, we allow the user to mint more than one. For this example, I'm only going to enter one, but what you can do is actually add a text field or something to ask the user to buy more than one, maybe a few buttons to say buy 1, 2, or 3, or 5. Well, we can maybe add that anyway. So let's go and do that anyway. Now that I think of it, we can add that. But let's go back to our app.js and code the rest of it. So what I said is we need a function, and this function is going to be called claim, right? Claim NFTs. And then the claim NFTs, what is it going to take? We need to think about this. So it's going to be equal to an anonymous function, first of all. And I think we can pass it in an integer. So I think in here, let's assume that the person is always going to buy for themselves. But technically, we can also pass in any address, right? But we're going to say this person is going to claim for the address that they land on the page with. So The only variable that I want to accept is the amount of NFTs over here. Okay, perfect. So once we have the amount there, what we can first of all do is set the claim NFT to true. And the reason why we do this is so that after they've clicked on the function, we can set our buttons to loading so that no one does anything else on the page. So maybe we can disable them or something. So we'll see about that just now. After that, we want to reach out to our blockchain. Now, our blockchain over here has the accounts on it, and it also has the contract on it. So remember, our blockchain has the smart contract on it. And we're going to be using the smart contract and say, we want the smart contract methods. And then we want to say, what is the method called? Mint. Let's just verify it's just mint, okay? And mint takes in 2 parameters. So let's just copy that and paste it there just so we don't forget. We need a 2, and then we need an amount. So the amount is going to be easy. That's going to be predefined for us from this function. The 2 is also easy. All we need to do is say the blockchain.account, which is the current account that we are working with. And then we have to do something interesting. We have to say .send. Now, .send can take in an extra object, which is very important in this case. We need to specify from who is this coming from. So we can also say blockchain.account. It's coming from us. And the value, because remember, this is a payable function, and we need to specify how much this is going to be. Now, we can't just put 0,02. I mean, that would be lovely to put in, and we don't have to worry about anything. But technically, what we would have to put in is we have to put some kind of value that looks like this. And that's not ideal. So what we can do is we can say, let's use the blockchain .web3. So our blockchain, just to pause and show you this, our blockchain reducer has a Web3 instance in it. And Web3 comes with a lot of utilities that you are able to use that makes life easier when working with the blockchain. So you can say utils, and then one of the utils is .2way, and it just makes it very difficult if the IDE doesn't pick up everything. But we need to now give it a value and then two-way, right? So we want to say, we want to take 0.02 and then we just specify ether, and that's it. So that's what we can specify. And this is now going to be based on the amount. So we technically have to say that times the amount. I'm not sure if this should be string. I can't see as well here, but we'll find that out just in a second. Next, what you can do is after you've said send, this is a asynchronous call. So what you can say is once there's an error. Let's catch the error first. So if there's an error, you can give it a anonymous function. And then in this function, we want to actually catch the error. You can do something with this error if you really want to. But the first thing that you want to do is actually set claiming NFT to false. Something went wrong. So we just need to set that to false. And then here we can console.log maybe the error just for debugging purposes. You can also let the user know. Maybe we can let them know. So let's say set feedback as well. We'll set the feedback to error just for now. We'll come up with something nice in there in just a second. And then what you want to do is say then. So this is now going to be the receipt, okay? And then the receipt is going to do what? So the receipt only comes once the blockchain has mined that block, I believe. So The first thing that you want to then do is also set this claiming to false, because we're done with claiming, okay? And then the next thing we want to do is give the user some feedback, which we'll put in here. For now, we can just say success, and then that's about it. That's all we really need to do. I mean, we can now go and fetch the data from the blockchain. We can do a bunch of cool things with this. Remember, the blockchain is at our disposal, so we can probably show how many NFTs are left, how many have been minted, all these cool things. But for now, I'm just going to leave it for this. We might update this. So let's just go down to our button and say that we actually want to call this. So we are going to say claim NFTs, and I'm going to say claim 1 NFT. Okay, so let's say claim 1. We're going to pass 1 in there. And then maybe, yeah, let's copy and paste this. So I'm going to copy and paste this and say you can either claim 1 or claim 5, like so. All right, but one thing that we need to do is we need to disable this button. And how do we determine this? This should be disabled if something is true. So if the claiming NFT, so claiming NFT, I believe if it's claiming NFT, it's 1 or it's 0. I think that's how we can determine that. But yeah, we also want it over here. If claiming NFT is 1, then disable or not. So, and also what we can say is in here, we might be duplicating code here, which is not nice. You can probably make this into another component. But we're just going to say claim NFT. If this is claim NFT, then we want to say busy claiming. All right. And if it's not, so over there, we're just going to do that and like so. And that's the only thing we need, is really to communicate to the user what's busy happening. I don't want to copy over that, so I'm just going to cut this out and put this on the other button too. That's beautiful. These buttons are going to be right below each other, so that's also fine. We'll just put a space in between them. And then I also want to put a smaller space, so let's do that. And then in here we're going to say give our feedback. So there we go. While I'm busy with this tutorial, I mean, if you guys want to see React tutorials, just let me know, because I love React and I can definitely teach you guys how to be very good at this framework. But anyway, so let's go and see if everything is hooked up. Everything looks fine. We're going to go back, and obviously that looks ugly. So we're going to go back just for a second and change the feedback. Where's our feedback? There's our feedback. Let's not make it text title. Let's make it maybe text description. I think I made the description a bit smaller. There we go. Perfect. Hey, grab one of the NFTs. Maybe it's your lucky day. Claim 1 or claim 5 NFTs. Let's go and claim 1. So this goes and pops up and it says, okay, cool. Blockchain smart contract is the method is not a function. So this is where the debugging starts. But that's cool, right? Because it means it tried to do something. So we're now going to see why is it not picking up, because it should be picking up. Before we start debugging this and not finding any issues, I just want to make sure that our migrations are correct. Remember that we do have all of these constructors that we also need to fill in, otherwise nothing is going to work. So let's go to our migration file and in here, and this is where I think the problem lies, is we need to kind of give a few variables in here in order for it to work. So you specify the smart contract and then we give it a name. I'm just going to call it name, just so it's easier for you guys to understand. We're going to say this is the symbol, and then we need the HTTP. Okay, this is just for me to do an example. I'm going to go and close the program and run Truffle Migrate again, just to verify that these things do go successfully on the blockchain. So I'm going to see there's a transaction and saving to the block. It looks fine. It looks like it did migrate. So this time I'm pretty sure it should be there. I'm going to now just start up the application again, run yarn start, and let's go and have a look. We can go back to the app.js right now if this doesn't work, but let's hope. Let's fingers crossed that this works. So connect to the blockchain. Cool. Grab one of the NFTs. Let's claim one. And yes, blockchain.smartcontract.method.mint is not a function. All right, it's time for us to do the dance. All right, let's go back. First of all, let's go and see, what do we call this? We do call it the smart contract, and that is what it's called over there. The payload is we get the payload over there. We also make sure that these things go smoothly. And technically, it's deploying. What I'm going to do as an extra measure, I'm going to remove, delete all. I'm going to remove all the contract data in there. That way, there's no possible way for us to migrate not over those things. So I'm going to migrate again. And then hopefully this goes successfully through. But then we need to kind of see, yes, you see there is a thing. Haha. Okay, let's read what this is. It says, could not find artifacts for smart contracts from any sources. Very interesting. So, oh, there we go. It's because our smart contract is called NFT_token. Now what we need to do is maybe call this the smart contract. If you have a different name on your NFT contract, you'll need to append it everywhere in this file, in this repo. But that's fine. I just needed to get down to what was happening because I couldn't understand why nothing was working. And I think it is that. So I'm going to update that, and let's see. That looks much better. There's our JSON. And that also looks better. So I think we're good. I'm going to restart the application again. And let's hope for some success. Perfect. Let it just load. I think this is just still loading. And the end result would be hopefully that we get to mint another one of these. Now, just keep in mind that our image won't pop up because, as you remember, we only have 10 JSON files, and we haven't uploaded any more. So we need to do that. But let's just go back for a second to our app before we get carried away. Let's go and say claim. And now it says, please pass numbers as strings to avoid. Okay, I think this is the error, right? And like I mentioned, I did not think that this would work. So all we need to do is we need to say that times the amount dot to string. So that should fix that error. And we're going to run it again. I'm going to say claim. And there we go, guys. There's our there's our pop-up. Okay, one thing over here, it says insufficient fund. That's fine because it's trying to come from our main account, which is not a good thing. I definitely don't want to pay for this. So let's just make sure that MetaMask is connected to this account. Make sure that this account, this test account that's running on your local blockchain is connected, not your real account. Now I'm going to go and say mint NFT, perfect, and I'm going to say confirm, and there, boom, it's confirmed and it's successful and it's minted, right? It won't show up on this smart contract because remember that the code that we are writing here is sitting on the local blockchain. But now we can actually close this local blockchain. Let's terminate that. We don't need that anymore. We just used it to test our functionality. We're also not going to use these smart contracts up there anymore, but you do keep them in your app so that if you want to debug or add to your functionality, you can do so. What we're going to do next is we're going to set up in our not public folder, in our source folder, underneath the Redux where we connect to the blockchain over here, we're going to just replace a few things to make it point to our real, our real smart contract. Now, you can leave this smart contract.abi as is because that is fine, all right? That is perfectly fine because we already ran it in our migrations. If you haven't run it, you need to paste your ABI in here from the smart contract that you find on the Etherscan. But here's our smart contract address. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to come back here where it says network, and I'm going to paste this in here. But instead of just doing that, I'm going to make a space and do that, and then comment out this line, because I noticed that sometimes I want to go back and then I've pushed up this code and then you guys are using it and there's no way for me to tell you this is what was there. So that's basically what I'm doing there. The next thing is that we really don't need this network ID to be pulled from the smart contract, because we just need to make sure that the network ID is equal to the right ID. So this should be equal to the correct ID. Now I just need to go and find out what the Rinkeby testnet ID is. So let me go and do that and then we can fill this in. Okay, after a quick Google search, I saw that the Rinkeby test network ID should be 4. We could have probably locked this out now that I think about it. But anyway, Rinkeby should be 4. So let's go and test this out. You can now just save this and let's go and run our program again. So this is nothing to do with the smart contracts that's sitting on here. I just wanted to let you know that we need to actually connect to the outside Ethereum network, right? This might still say Polygon network, so that's something we're going to quickly change. I want to switch to a random network. I want to go back and just say let me just see. Okay. Let's add that and let's click connect. Okay, change network to Ethereum. So if we go now and select the correct network, which is the Rinkeby one, and we go to one that kind of has Ethereum, whatever, we can log in. Perfect. And I now want to test what happens if I mint. So just remember, when you mint and you are the owner, which this is, you don't really have to pay, because remember, we're skipping that payment. But because I coded it in the smart contract or in this dApp that anyone is going to pay, the owner is also going to pay. So I just want to let you know. Anyway, check this out. Once you're on the live network, it takes about a few seconds before this is minted. So it will say, hey, grab one of your NFTs. Maybe it's your lucky day, success. And now you can pop up some messages to say, cool, go and check it out on Opensea. So now we can go onto Opensea. We can see we have one owner, right? And by the way, these things have now populated. So we have got 20 items, one owner, and it's 0 tradable yet. I want to refresh this just to see if this updates. So let's go and refresh. That might not update yet, but if we go into the contract and refresh the contract, there we go. There's 21 NFTs, which is pretty cool. and it is 44 seconds ago someone minted this NFT. How cool is that? What we're going to do is just quickly go back to our Dap, go and switch accounts to maybe another account. Let's go and choose this account. And let's mint 5. I'll see how much I will need to pay. So this says I'm going to have to pay this much, which doesn't seem right, is it? No. Let's see why. I think I know why. So in our app.js, if we go down to the buttons, I don't think we've passed in 5. So we need to remember to pass in 5 NFTs over there, just to make sure everything is working fine. All right. So now let me just save it. Let me click on 5. And then this should pop up how much I'm going to pay. And that is exactly it, right? We're going to pay 0.1 Ethereum for all 5. I don't mind. I like NFTs. Let's go do it. And then let's go and check in the smart contract, what's happening over here. We are going to refresh. It's still busy. So we just wait for feedback. It says there's an error, which is interesting. Oh no, it says success. That's interesting. Let's just verify. I think I came back and yeah, it did mint. It did mint. So it wasn't an error. I think I refreshed or something the page. It wasn't an error at all. It went through perfectly because there's now 26. We minted 31 seconds ago. There was 5 minted and it should be on my name. So if I go to my collection now, my profile, there we go, 26, 25, 24. They are all my NFTs now. That's pretty cool. Guys, I really, and also when you've now uploaded the JSON files, remember, then they'll start showing up. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I really hope this makes sense and that this is cool. Yeah, just remember to have fun with these things and play around with it. Make sure that you guys are also having fun. And send me the stuff that you guys create. I really appreciate it. Remember now, I'm not going to respond to each and every comment. I will be doing it at night, but mostly I'm just going to be observing what you guys do, and please help each other out in this channel as well. We are a collaborative team working on blockchain technology together, kind of, and I'm looking forward to do and explore more blockchain technologies with you guys. I hope this covered more than anyone else has covered in this blockchain space. And I hope that you guys take this and explore with it. What I'll be doing next is just saving this project and uploading it to the GitHub repo, to the actual GitHub repo that we have here at HashLips. And I'll probably call it something like Opensea, Minter, or something. You'll find it here and you'll see it will be the latest repo out. As an added bonus, I've decided to create an example dApp for you guys, which you guys can go and connect to, download it off the repo. It would most probably be saying example dApp something, and you can go there. I'll leave it in the description. You can connect to it once you start it up. It has cool features such as pulling the amount that has already been minted of your NFT contract, and then also the amount of how much an NFT costs, and it will update the corresponding values to whatever you buy. Down here, if we say buy 5, you can see it says busy minting your NFT, and you can go and confirm, and everything works as expected. Again, before you use any of this code, make sure that you've thoroughly audited it yourself and made sure that you're happy with it. But for now, thank you again and have a lovely day.